Hello and welcome back to Potty Mouth, the show where the jokes are dirty and our minds are dirtier. I'm Aaron, and this is my wife, Ellen.
Hey, what's up?
So Blake is actually out sick. He's going to be out for the next this episode and the next one. So best wishes to you, man. Get better, and we'll see you back here, hopefully for shooting the shit on Friday. But until then, my lovely wife, has agreed to sit in on filming and to cover the topic weird sex laws.
I'll do the best I can.
Yeah, so this is the second time you've been on the podcast because you were on the podcast, for your birthday, so like a month ago, a couple months ago.
Right. Well, I was the topic, so it was easy to be on that one.
Yeah, so this one, really and truthfully, it's actually a pretty easy one because I'm just going to read off some sex topics. I'm going to read off some sex laws, and then we're going to kind of react to the most outrageous sex laws for every state.
Okay.
Fair enough? Okay. So, let's scroll to the top here. So it says a tour through the wildest, most absurd sex laws in America. And we're sticking primarily in America. Okay. So, starting off with Alabama. Anal and oral sex is illegal between unmarried people.
How do they enforce that?
I don't think they do. But would
they punish you if you came forward with that?
That's actually a really good question. I'm not 100% sure. How could they enforce that? That's actually a better question. How could they possibly how could they possibly enforce that?
Would that make non-consensual more of a crime if they did that kind of sexual act?
What do you mean?
Well, not to use the word on the podcast, but if they were to force themselves and do that kind of a sex act, would that make the crime more severe?
So we're talking about rape.
Yeah.
This is called Potty Mouth. You're okay to be. It's kind of what we talk about here. That we have a mutual respect. You know, you respect us, we respect you, and that's how this boat works. So those of you that watch the show long enough know and understand that. So kind of going from there. Okay, so go ahead. What you're saying?
Fine. If someone were to anally rape someone, does that make it worse? Punishment-wise,
because if you're unmarried or whatever,
right? Would that make the punishment worse than just your basic rape?
That's actually a good question. I wonder if they do enforce that law still, because that would be, especially in rape cases, that would be a pretty big deal, I would think, anyway.
I mean, that's the only way that you could even try to enforce something like that, because no one's going to come forward with it,
right?
Unless they're coming forward for some other reason. I'm blowing your mind.
She's bringing up some good points. I don't actually know. It's a good question. Moving on. I don't have the answer to that question. You're asking questions that I didn't think of. So, okay. Reason we're married, everybody. That's pretty much.
I question everything.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on to Arizona. Adultery is still a Class 3 misdemeanor. However, suspects can't be prosecuted unless the spouse is willing to press charges. What?
Adultery is a Class 3.
It is a Class 3 misdemeanor. So adultery is a Class 3 misdemeanor unless... Now, however, a suspect can't be prosecuted unless their spouse is willing to press charges. So I'm assuming in most cases it doesn't happen a lot of the time, but they do. It can.
I know so many women out there would love to move to Arizona.
So they could prosecute their spouses.
Justice has been served.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. But yeah, so Arizona, I guess there you go. If you're wanting to take your husband to jail or send your husband to court for adultery, there you go. Move to Arizona.
What about Alaska? Did Alaska not have any rules?
I think No, Alaska's at the end. I was looking into it a little bit.
That's weird.
But now, Arkansas. Spouses can sue if their partner gets an abortion without their consent.
Oh, I get that one. I get why not all states do it, but I think that's not out of the realm of reasonable.
Not saying that we're pro-choice or pro-abortion or pro-not-abortion.
No.
We're staying completely unbiased. We just can see from certain perspectives where
I think that everybody who wants to be involved in that decision should have the right to be.
Should have a say in the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so moving on to Colorado. In Cattle Creek, so a specific place in Colorado, it is against the law to have sex with your spouse while bathing in a river or stream. You know what's sad about that? Is that in order for that to be a law, there's something bad that had to happen in order for that being a law.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, like, what if a kid witnessed that or something?
A kid witnessed that, or like, what if the creek is so dirty that people are getting like dysentery?
Or what if that's like a really public creek? Like, that's the place to be in the summer.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if we type in Cattle Creek, what pops up. Let's just look up Cattle Creek, folks, to keep you in suspense. Cattle Creek, Colorado. Let's just see what pops up. So not really anything bad. They're probably trying to hide it. But it is a law, so that's interesting. So that's only specifically in Cattle Creek, Colorado. So I wonder, yeah. I mean, I know where I'm from originally, and you went to college there, the White River. I will not even.
Filthy.
Yeah, I won't even go swimming in that river. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty messed up. Not gonna lie, folks. It's pretty messed up place. Yeah, it's like people go by there and like they'll dump like metal, like just like torn out computers. They'll throw washing machines in there. They'll pee and poop. There's also a lot of runoffs.
I don't know if this is a comment to how filthy the White River is, but I've seen memes where tornadoes stop and won't cross the White River.
Yeah, there's been memes about Muncie. So I mean, it's not like a hidden thing. It's a thing that people talk about quite frequently, just because it's dirty. Okay, Georgia. Anal and oral sex are prohibited regardless of marital status.
Oh. That doesn't.
That's kind of against. I think that's against your. That's unconstitutional.
Like who cares?
So anal and oral sex are prohibited regardless of marital status in the state of Georgia.
I wonder if that is.
And there's no way to enforce that.
I wonder if that's a turnaround way they're trying to prevent HIV spread.
Maybe, but there's no way. Or like it's like a homophobic.
There's no way to.
It's a homophobic law.
Yeah.
Yeah, but girls like anal too. Some girls, not you, but some girls. What? Oh yeah, that's the first time she's ever been called out on camera. We talk about you all the time. The listeners are just and the watchers are just now getting to see what happens, what we talk about. You're just experiencing it for the first time.
Hey guys.
No, so she's not a huge fan. A couple times just didn't work out, but it is illegal. So we can move to Georgia, honey. No. Okay.
Like if I considered it before, no.
You're just like, I'm ixnay on the Georgia. That's
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In Hawaii, there are no laws on record which prohibit bestiality. It's kind of like a reverse. It's not really. It's not a law. There's no law preventing bestiality. So if you wanna fuck a goat, you go for it.
So do the people who did the research for this article actually go through every state and say, yep, there is a bestiality law?
And just look through their bylaws?
And just making sure that they could throw something up in Hawaii.
Yeah, true. I mean, I guess you could. You could always research this yourself and go to any of the websites, and there is actually PDFs of all of their laws. That's a long list, probably, and takes you forever. But you're more than welcome to fact check me. And if any of these are wrong, please put the correct answer in the comments below, because we'd love to know if we're wrong about any of these. But according to the article that we're reading, Hawaii says there's no law that prohibits bestiality. That's really messed up. Although if a few creepy people out there that want to have sex with their cat or fuck a donkey, you go for it. I mean, go to Hawaii. Just don't do it here. Go to Hawaii, and then and then just don't tell me about it. Just don't. Idaho, unmarried sex can result in a $300 fine or 6 months in jail. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the worst one so far.
I feel like that's just they're so close to Utah.
I wonder if they even do police it. Not like how would they, but that has to be outdated. Just something that they know is there, but they don't police it because they know it's ridiculous.
That's true. I mean, I feel like some laws are just like they were made a long time ago, and then legislation was like, I don't really care about, like, well, they'll just forget that law and not enforce it or not have such.
Right.
Although, like, that's because so I think this is no offense to anybody, but I've known people that were Mormon, and they are very, 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 very strict when it comes to their religion and their religious views, and so that kind of makes sense.
But that's back to
And
religion.
outdated, yeah.
Religion is directly tied to
If
the
you,
law.
yeah, but if you look at it, a lot of the laws that are these crazy, ridiculous laws had to be based off of religious background.
But that's a direct connection.
Well, yeah, but so is the no sex, or so is the no anal or oral, or and like all that. Like it's because of religious views, because apparently that's sin or whatever. So they you see it in American law legislation all the time is backed by religious views and not by constitutional views, which even the Constitution was kind of written at a time where religion played a really big role in a lot of people's lives. But that's not neither here nor there. The Constitution was also kind of written unbiasedly to a degree. It did leave out a lot of stuff that, like the black right to vote and like all that stuff, and the women's right to vote and all that kind of stuff that we're not going to get into on the show. But it definitely, religion has dictated legislation for many years in the country. It's not like a secret, I don't think. Like for years, it's kind of been like powered by this weird Christian machine, essentially. And we're just now getting to a place where they're starting to make and change these laws that were like outdated or racist or homophobic or whatever it may be, because of how crazy and messed up it all is. But
Yep.
sorry, did I go on a little too long there?
You went down a rabbit hole.
Because you were just like, yep. All right. And honey, you were talking too much. Move on. Okay. So moving on to Illinois. When someone sells a reptile, they're legally required to give the purchaser a written warning telling them not to kiss the reptile. I feel like that's kind of a given. Once again, we're going back to this weird law that like someone had to do that shit.
I got really scared because the first two lines of that, and we still hadn't approached sexual territory, I was really worried about where that was going.
Having sex with a reptile, apparently. Yeah, so that's weird. Oh, hey, Indiana. Yay.
Oh, is it because of the Princess and the Toad?
It could be. But toads aren't reptiles, they're amphibians.
Well, it's a Princess and the Frog?
Either one.
A
Toads
frog's a
and frogs
reptile,
are...
right?
No, frog is amphibian. Wait, are they reptile? No, they're not. They're an amphibian. I don't know.
That's the only thing that I can think that would be based off of.
I think frogs are amphibians.
We failed science class, guys.
Scientists believe that more than 40,000 toads are... Yep, they are amphibians.
It's right there. big blue bold letters.
I was reading about it specifically, okay? Holy crap. Okay, moving on to Indiana. Noticeable boners, or as the law calls it, covered male genitals in a discernibly turgid state, are illegal in public. So for those of you in Indiana popping boners in public, tuck and squeeze. I can't believe that's illegal. I mean, I get it. What is it, like a form? It's a form of indecent exposure. Like, would that be classified as that?
I get it, but that's
I
not
don't.
very fair.
It's not fair, especially when you girls wear that low cut cleavage. There's no way. There's no way
Yeah,
that's
I
policed.
get the intent, but
Yeah, but
that's
there's-
not fair.
You have to be. You know what though? It's probably all. Oh, I can't say that. Oh, it's so
the
bad.
homeless people?
No, we don't have as much homeless people as in other states. It's not as bad. No, I was thinking like too many people wearing too many people free balling it in sweatpants.
Here?
In
As
Indiana.
opposed to other places?
I don't know. I was making a joke, but no, I don't know. There's no way they can enforce that. Like it's like yeah, there's no way. It's just you can't. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Kansas, it's illegal to knowingly drive a prostitute to their sex work. I feel like that's kind of a given, though. You shouldn't just like hop in a car with a sex worker. That probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that one.
You don't.
I mean, you're not the sex worker.
Yeah, but you don't think it's like should be illegal?
I don't think that that's going to stop sex work.
No, I don't think so either. But apparently they're trying. I think they're trying to detour it. Is that? I guess maybe
deter
detour deter it. Yeah, I think that's the goal. Is they're just trying to deter. I can't say that word. See now,
Just move on.
listen. This is how it happens. Oops, God, that was really loud. Sorry, guys. This is how it happens. So on the show, I'm the one that corrects Blake because this is what I have to live with at home. She constantly corrects me on all of my grammar, so that I catch him saying stuff like honestly, and then I have to correct it because it's just like ingrained in my freaking skull.
I'm sorry I make you sound smarter.
Hey,
Are you upset right now?
I am smart.
You
kind
are
of.
smart. I am making you smarter.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on. Moving on to Louisiana. So in Louisiana, streaking is totally legal as long as it isn't done with lascivious.
Lascivious.
Thank you. Lascivious intent. Now, can you please describe the definition of lascivious?
No, I can't.
All right. So what does lascivious mean? And can you spell it? She's looking right at it, so of course she can. Don't let her fool you. Because there's no way she would have spelled that correctly if you pronounced it like that.
I've heard of it. I just didn't pay attention to the context the one time I heard it.
The one time you heard it?
Yeah.
All right. So lascivious. What? Lascivious.
Lascivious. It's right there.
Oh. Lascivious. Of a person, manner, or gesture, feeling or revealing an overt and often offensive sexual desire. So,
Okay.
So streaking is totally legal as long as it isn't done with lascivious intent.
So streaking
Is
to
legal.
be part of, like, if your frat group does it just to have fun and do what frat boys do, is okay as long as they're not doing it to be overtly sexual.
So okay, so they're not like, as long as they're not like throwing dildos and running down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Okay. Interesting. Did not know that one. Moving on to Maine. In Buckfield, Maine, specifically Buckfield, cab drivers cannot charge a fare to passengers whom perform sexual favors in exchange for a ride from a place that serves alcohol. That is incredibly descriptive and specific.
Yeah. They had a definite specific problem there.
Can you imagine the
Cab
the cab driver or the police officer taking that report, being like, all right, let me check all these boxes. So are you a cab driver? Yes. Okay. And you are upset because she didn't pay for the fare. Okay. Did she perform a sexual favor, and where'd you pick her up from? I picked her from a bar. Nothing I can do, sir. She doesn't know you shit.
So basically, they're just trying to keep you from double charging the person?
Wait, no, I don't think so. Because a cab driver cannot charge a fare for a passenger who performs sexual favors in exchange for the ride. So you pick the person up.
So that they're accepting that the sexual favor counts as payment.
Correct.
That's prostitution.
Illegal form of prostitution.
They're saying, yeah, she just prostituted, if that's a word. She just prostituted herself for a ride. That means you certainly can't charge her again. They're accepting the sexual favor as form of payment.
Right. As long as you were leaving a place that serves alcohol.
The distinction doesn't matter.
It does matter, because if you're leaving a place that does not serve alcohol, you cannot.
But that is legal prostitution that they acknowledge, no matter where it came from.
Yeah.
As seldomly as that's probably going to happen, that's what they just did.
Well, technically, a brothel is prostitution, but it's legal in Nevada. Nevada, for those of you that are down south. Yeah, like prostitution is, well, not prostitution. Prostitution is not legal in Nevada. Brothels are legal in Nevada that perform sex acts and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole different mess of crap that we don't really need to. Once again, we don't need to really go in. We'll go into that on. Actually, we actually have another episode. We're going into that about brothels and the difference, the distinction between prostitution and brothels.
All I'm saying is they nitpicked their way into legal prostitution.
Pretty much is what I'm kind of getting at too. Yeah, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. All right. So in Maryland, condoms cannot be sold in a vending machine except in places where liquor is sold.
Oh.
Okay. So wait.
I like that law.
Where can condoms be sold otherwise in a vending machine? Like here. Can you buy a condom I guess you can buy it in a bathroom some places.
I've never seen one.
Like a Walmart bathroom.
I mean, that makes sense. I like that law.
Why?
Because, I mean, condoms are easy to get, but they're not going to be seen by someone who's not age appropriate.
So you're taking the...
I think that's a very good law.
You're taking the youthful approach on this one.
Yeah, and I'm worried that, maybe the reason that we don't ever see condom vending machines here is because in Indiana we're afraid for someone to see it who shouldn't.
Maybe.
And
I don't know.
That kind of deters responsible sex.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of
talking about it.
Or
yeah, our sex education here in Indiana is not the best. They more or less just preach amnesty and don't really talk about. They tell you how bad it is and all the diseases you can get, and they tell you about you should just wait till marriage and blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but they really don't teach you how to practice safe sex. At least when I was growing up. They may now, but they did not teach it when I was growing up, and I'm sure it was way worse when you were growing up, because she's 7 years older than me. So there's a little bit of a distinction between how we were educated. She also went to a better school than I did. But so I don't know. Was yours pretty much the same way? They just kind of preached amnesty, and then they didn't really teach about how to practice safe sex?
Honestly, they didn't talk about sex hardly at all in health class.
And it's just sad. You need to talk about that crap. In high school, they never talked about it either?
They talked about
how the body grows.
They talked about the anatomy. They talked about the cycles. They talked about what happens after you get pregnant. But they didn't talk about the safe stuff.
So it's here's how it all works together. Mm-hmm. Pregnancy.
Yeah, no one ever came in with bananas.
There's not here's how you use condoms or whatever. There's those rings too that you can wear, and birth control and all. Well, they did kind of talk about birth control a little bit, but not a whole bunch. Yeah. All right. So Massachusetts, sodomy is still on the books as illegal. What's sodomy?
No dildos.
What's sodomy again?
It's just putting something up inside you.
Oh, yeah, so no dildos or vibrators.
That's interesting.
But what is happening? Okay, that was weird. Yeah, that's...
Sodomy is legal.
So, Massachusetts, you're not allowed to...
It's still on the books, though. The way they phrase it, I think they're probably like, yeah, that's outdated. We know it.
So they're not gonna prosecute for it, but it's like whatever. It's like we're gonna leave it there because we don't want to deal with the process of getting it removed as a law.
Yeah, probably.
That's really sad. Michigan, seducing and debauching an unmarried woman is a felony with a punishment up to 5 years in jail. So debauchery. What is debauchery?
No.
There are so many big words in this freaking... Just tell us what it means. Like, they should provide a definition with all these freaking big words.
If I were to guess, I'd say it's doing something dirty.
Destroy or debase the moral purity of.
Yeah.
He debauched 16 schoolgirls. Ew. Well, that's debauchery should be illegal in some cases. But yeah, that's an unmarried woman. So you can seduce and debauch a married woman, but not an unmarried woman. Oh, that is an outdated law.
Yeah, that's a whole religion thing
Yeah,
too.
once again, it's another religious-based law. We're running into a lot of these. Minnesota, grabbing someone's clothed buttocks is considered sexual assault.
Is not considered.
Or is not considered. Excuse me. Thank you for correcting me. Is not considered sexual assault, though lawmakers are working hard to change that.
As they should.
Yes, they should, because apparently I can just go up to somebody in Minnesota and grab their butt, and it's not. That's weird. I guess male or female, but that's really.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have changed that years ago?
Other priorities.
Mississippi. In sex education classes in Mississippi, you are allowed to teach about contraceptives, but condom demonstrations are explicitly forbidden. So you can talk about contraceptives, but you can't demonstrate how they're used. That is kind of the exact opposite of the point. Aren't you supposed to show how they're used? That's really sad, actually. Okay, moving right along. In Missouri, Springfield has tragically banned side boob and under boob in public.
Tragically.
That is crazy. So you can't have side boob anymore, apparently, and you can't have under boob. So poor for that girl at the baseball game we saw that one time. Yeah.
Side boob spice.
Side boob spice. She looked like
She looked like a Spice Girl.
There was this girl that was kind of dressed like a Spice Girl and had like major side boob going on. She looked decent in the outfit. Like it wasn't like untasteful, but there was definite side boob. So apparently in Missouri she'd be in trouble, which I don't know how they can enforce that either, unless it's another form of indecent exposure.
It'd have to be.
Yeah. Nebraska, no one who is afflicted with a venereal disease is legally allowed to marry.
Ooh.
Well, that's kind of...
That's unconstitutional too.
Yeah, you can't like tell somebody they can't love somebody and get... Yeah, it's... Once again, we're getting into a different...
Here's a reasonable law.
I see a trend with a lot of these laws.
Before you marry someone,
you should get
have
tested.
to tell them.
Yeah.
That's a decent
Or be
law.
tested. In some states, like, have you be tested.
Right.
Because you can lie. But, yeah. Okay.
Ugh,
In Nevada, while prostitution within licensed brothels is legal, those brothels cannot legally be within 400 yards of a place of worship. I mean, I guess it's probably...
400 yards. That's not very far.
It's 4 football fields. It's 4, like, regulation-sized football fields. Well, actually, a regulation football field is 110 yards, so it actually is only just the end zone to end zone.
I wonder why they chose that specific length. You know?
I don't know. Probably because you could drive past a brothel and then 400 yards later you've forgotten that there's a brothel right there and it's like, oh, church. I don't know.
500 yards do that too.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's not technically... I mean, 400 yards is not a mile.
I know, I'm getting into the weeds. It doesn't really matter. But...
You're good. It's okay. In New Mexico, topless bars are a no-go as incident
Indecent.
Thank you. As indecent waitering is illegal. Wait, are topless bars illegal in America?
Yeah.
Are there topless bars around here?
I don't know that they're... Because I never went to that one bar that I knew. What? I don't know. It was in Muncie. It closed down recently.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of bars that closed down in Muncie.
Yeah, I've never been to one of those. I don't know if Indiana has them or not, but...
But so topless bars are legal.
They're legal somewhere.
But apparently New Mexico is not. New York, adult businesses must devote no more than 40% of their square footage to adult entertainment. So wait. Oh, adult entertainment, so you can't have more than 40% of your store can't be adult entertainment. Well, entertainment is a very broad... Because entertainment could be a lot of different things.
Well, see, but
are they just talking about movies and like porn and stuff like that? Or are they being
like the game section too?
Yeah, like so that covers a lot of different.
Even still, the ones we've been to they follow that.
Yeah, kind of, but we've never been to one in New York.
True.
I've never seen one in New York. I don't even know. I wonder if they do enforce that because that's actually a relatively enforceable law. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Well, anyway, North Carolina, there is a real city called Hornytown, and massage parlors are hilariously illegal there.
I mean, can you imagine a place where that was legal and it was called Hornytown?
I mean, that'd be absolutely hilarious.
No one could live there.
Yeah, massage parlors are probably illegal there because people will be asking for happy endings. In North Dakota, in Fargo, skinny dipping in the Red River is illegal between 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and presumably legal from 9:01 p.m. to 7:59 a.m. So apparently, if you want to go skinny dipping in North Dakota, it's presumably completely legal from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day, which is weird.
Because that's when the kids are in bed.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's still weird. Ohio. It is illegal for a stripper to touch a patron. Stormy Daniels was actually just arrested for this. I think this is a little that one's probably a little bit outdated.
Yeah.
But let's find out. Oh.
That's reasonable.
Actually, that was last year, so she got arrested last year for that. Interesting. All right, we got to get through these. Let's pop through them. So in Oklahoma, sex education instructors must, against scientific evidence, teach students that engaging in homosexual activity is primarily responsible for contact with the AIDS virus. That's
lying.
Yeah. Against scientific evidence, teach students that engaging in homosexual activity in Oklahoma. Yeah, that's some bullshit. In Pennsylvania, condoms cannot legally be sold in vending machines, period. Ever. In South Carolina, it is illegal to seduce someone using the promise of marriage. That's kind of fair. Mm-hmm. But there's no way to prove that, unfortunately. South Dakota,
Anyone can complain.
I guess.
That they got duped that way.
I mean, I guess, but still. In South Dakota, it is illegal to use a covered wagon in any way for the purposes of prostitution. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a very outdated law, I would think. A covered wagon. Come on down to the ye old tavern and go to the old covered wagon in the back. Meet Sally.
But what if they kept it because that's like a novelty there?
Oh, that'd be a little messed up. In Tennessee, and more specifically in Skullbone, Tennessee, a woman may not pleasure a man who is operating a motor vehicle.
We can't live there.
We have had sex driving down the road 70 miles an hour. Do not do that. By any means. Don't do that. It's very dangerous. We were very silly and crazy for doing that.
And very young.
And 2 years younger than we are right now. So not very young.
Oh, no, it's been 3.
Is it? Oh, it has been 3. Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah, okay. In Texas, anyone who has 6 or more obscene devices, dildos, is presumed to possess them with the intent to promote, and promoting obscenity is illegal. So if you have more than 6 dildos and you live in Texas, don't talk about it.
We have more than that now.
Yeah, we also did an episode called 25 Days of Sex Toys. So we're going to have some just lying around. In Utah, in Tremonton, if you live in Trimmington, Utah, forgive me, that's not how you pronounce it probably. You cannot legally have sex while riding in an ambulance. Okay, what the fuck? Why is that a law? Utah, you are freaks. Like, what the crap? In Beanville, Vermont, it is illegal to sell or distribute road maps which have ads of a lewd or lascivious nature. So basically, don't put a porn ad on a road map in Vermont. Why would... people are stupid. Okay. In Virginia, you cannot have sex in your car no matter where you park it.
Remember that one.
Yeah, right in the driveway. People were walking by. It was fun. And then in Washington, strippers are not legally allowed to wear devices which simulate pubic hair. That's weird. Okay. In West Virginia, it is illegal to transport anyone, sex worker or client, to a place of prostitution. Once again, that's illegal in most states because it's a form of solicitation in prostitution, and you can still be arrested for that. But that's kind of a weird one. In Wisconsin, in Connorsville, Wisconsin, it is illegal for a man to fire a gun while his partner is climaxing. Only you, Wisconsin. Only you. And then for a little bonus, or actually in Wyoming, in Newcastle, Wyoming, it is illegal to have sex in a walk-in freezer.
Shoot.
I feel like... What? Have you had sex in a walk-in freezer?
No.
Oh, okay. He's like, not with me. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. Probably because two people went to have sex in a walk-in freezer.
It's unsanitary.
No, not that. They probably went in there to have sex and then got stuck and died.
Why is that where you go?
Because it's illegal, so they're probably illegal for safety concerns.
Or sanitary concerns.
Probably safety concerns.
Man, you just jump right to the most serious
I
conclusion.
do. Yep, I really do. And then bonus, on a federal level, there is no federal regulation for the materials allowed to be put in the manufacturing of sex toys. So any product is not, that you buy at a sex shop is not FDA approved. That's lovely.
Well, at least that one state that has a sodomy law is safe.
And on that weird ending, that's all for this episode of Potty Mouth. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, iTunes, Spotify, or watch it here on YouTube. If you're watching it here on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button so we can keep bringing you fun, silly, goofy content like this. Thanks for being on the show today, baby.
Thank you. No, you're welcome.
And that's all for this episode of Potty Mouth, and we will see you next time on the Potty Cast. Do this.